Okay, so we're going to learn how to change or to get to the switches and flip them on a Coinco BA style bill acceptor, and they're usually the ones that have the long bill box or the long control box on the side. This is a BA30B, and just pause the video at the beginning of this section to copy down the switch settings for this type of bill acceptor. I'm not going to tell you what each switch is. I'm just going to show you how to get to them. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is going to push the tab, pull the tab forward, and lift the bill box off. The switches are in the red switch bank. They're white switches in this box there, and they're right behind. On a really old version of this bill acceptor, there wouldn't be a hole here to get to the switches. You have to take the control board all the way out of the box, but most of them have the hole. There's usually a piece of tape covering it. All you got to do is grab the piece of tape, pull it off. You can discard it if you want. I usually never put them back on there. They're not necessary, really. And then you're going to use, normally they recommend using a number 2 pencil to change the switch settings, but for this type of hole, it won't fit in there, so you need a really small tool like what I've got. And you just stick your tool in there, and they're rocker switches. To rock them forward towards the front of the bill acceptors to turn them on. To rock them backwards is to turn them off. And there's 8 switches. Switch number 8 is on the top. Switch number 1 is on the bottom. And then you just reach your tool in there and rock them back and forth. When you're all done, you can put your tape back on if you want, and then put the bill box back on. Okay, this is the same bill acceptor. This is a BA30B, but it's a slightly different configuration. It's still got the same long box, but the control board has been upgraded. It's the short board. It's the mag style control board, and they'll fit in these boxes. Normally we put the mag box on, which is a shorter gray box usually, but I wanted to show how to get to the switches in this case. It's very simple, but just wanted to show that it was the same deal. Alright, so you're going to pull the tab forward, take the bill box off. I already took the piece of tape off the hole, and it's the same deal. You can just reach in there with your tool and flip the switches. Switches is 8 through, there's 8 switches, 8 is on the top, 1's on the bottom. Forward, they're not rocker switches, they're just toggle switches, so forward is on, backwards is off, and you can reach in and change them just like with the regular BAs. And then put the bill box back on, and you're done. Okay, so this is a mag style bill acceptor, and there's 2 different styles of mags. There's the black ones and the gray ones. The gray ones are Mag Pros, and the black ones are just mags. The only difference is the landing lights on the Mag Pros. There's lights here, and that's basically the only difference except for the color. To change the switches on a mag or a Mag Pro, we're going to pull the tab up here, we're going to pull it forward, we're going to lift up on the bill box, pop it off, and then we got the control box right here, and you might see this control box on older bill acceptors like the BA30s and all that, if they've been upgraded, and in that case you can use the same procedure to change the switches. But then your switches right here, there's 8 switches, 8's on the top, 1's on the bottom. Move a switch forward, it is turning it on. Move a switch backwards, it's off. And they're just toggle switches. You can use a number 2 pencil, or I just use this little tool that I've got here. Just toggle them forward or backwards and make sure they're always all the way forward or all the way backwards. And when you set them at where you want them, then bill box back on, and you're done. Okay, so now we're going to learn how to change the switches on an R series bill acceptor, and this works for the BA 32R, 52R, MAG, 52, 32, 62R, any R series bill acceptor. The R series bill acceptor is different in that the control board is on the bottom, in the bottom unit, the lower sensor board assembly, not on a side control box. First thing we're going to do is we're going to pull the tab forward, pop the bill box off. Then we're going to take the lower sensor board assembly out. And to do that, we're going to press the tab on the bottom of the bill acceptor in, and I'm going to push it in with one finger, and I'm going to pull the assembly out with the other finger, or with my other fingers, and then you can pull out the entire thing. And I just, for the purpose of this illustration, I'm going to set it flat on its back, and everything is going to be angled from here. Your switches are right here. They're the white switches. 8 through 1. 8 is on the top, 1 is on the bottom, with the housing sitting like this. On is, you're going to turn the switch this way, towards the front of the bill acceptor. Off is that way. So just toggle the switches with a number 2 pencil or a tool like what I'm using to the settings that you want. And when you're all done, just take the housing, and you don't have to turn the power off to turn the switches, or to set the switches on what you want. Just be sure and don't touch this board if the power is on. And then slide it back in, and you want to make sure it latches, okay? And you hear it click. If I just push it in, it's all the way in, it looks like, but it's not clicked. It's not latched into place. And the bill acceptor will not take the bill unless this is latched into place. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to squeeze it until you hear it click. Okay, so now it's latched properly. And then put your bill box back on, and you're done. Okay, to change the settings on a BillPro bill acceptor, slightly different procedure. The validator has to be on in order for the switches to be changed. You're going to take the bill box off, pull the tab forward, pop the box off. Then you're going to pull out the lower sensor board. Same deal with the mags. You're going to press the tab in. Same time, pull out the bill acceptor base. Okay. Then what we're going to do is you're going to take the anti-cheat levers, which are right here. They move up and down. I'm not going to move them yet because we have to count how many times we move them up and down. To change the settings, we're going to push them down and release them 5 times. Okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? And then the settings are going to be shown here on your on the lights. Landing lights is what they're called on the bill acceptor. We just have one light on right now, which means that it'll take $1 bills, and that's it. Okay, to make a change in what settings we have here, just press the cheat levers, and it'll change how many lights are on. 1, 2, 3, and 4 are $1 bills, $5 bills on a this is a BP2 BX. On a BP4, you would use numbers 1 and 2 to turn on 10 and $20 bills, but a BP2 only takes 1 through 5. So all you're going to be able to, this last light here is the high security or standard acceptance. If the light's on, it's high security. So you've got, just toggle through them until you get the settings that you want. This is $1 and $5 bills on, high security. So I just want 1 and 5s on. And then when you're done, when you get to the setting that you want, you're going to hold down the anti-cheat levers until these lights start flashing. They're just going to go off once basically, and then you're going to put the lower assembly back in. So I'm going to hold them down. If they go off, they're flashing. Put the assembly back in, bill box back on, and they're already changed. I like to restart the machine or the validator afterwards, just to make sure that the switches have taken effect. Okay, so we're going to do the latest Coinco bill acceptor. Show you how to change the options on this one. This is a Coinco Vantage, and this procedure will work on any model of the Vantage bill acceptor. First thing we're going to do is take the bill box off, and then you're going to, the white switch is your service switch, and you're going to hold that in until the green light starts to flash. Press and hold. Okay, green light's flashing. You can remove the lower assembly, which I should show you how to do that too on this, I guess. Same deal as on the Coinco mags. But now it's back in a regular service mode. But what we're going to do when we do take it out is there's a tab down here. We're going to press that tab in and pull out the lower assembly at the same time. Okay, so hold the switch in, the light flashes and goes off. Sorry, restart there. Okay, pull the lower assembly out. And on the Vantage, there's what's called pages of programming. And there are 4 pages in the programming. We're on page 1 right now. The far right light will tell you which page we're on by it'll flash the number. One flash, okay? And then the rest of the lights are the options in that page. So I'm just going to show you how to cycle through the pages, and you can see from the sheet at the beginning of this section of the film what each other light represents, okay? So the white button is how we're going to navigate through it. If you want to go to page 2, just press and hold the white button until that light starts flashing twice over there, okay? So now we're there. Release it, release the white button. The light's flashing twice. We're in page 2. We're going to go to page 3 now. I'm going to press the button in and hold it again. Okay. It's flashing 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Now we're on page 3. To go to the last page, we're going to press and hold it again. Press and hold. Press and hold. There it goes. 4 flashes. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? And then you don't have to be at a specific page when you put the lower assembly back in. But when you do want to put the lower assembly back in, you're going to take the take the lower board and stick it back in the validator, and it'll go back into regular service mode. You don't have to press the button again or anything. Put the bill box back on, and you're done. Okay, the other side, on a Vantage bill acceptor, on a combo bill acceptor, where you've got a pulse side, which is where you have a plug here for your for a harness, and then MDB, you're going to have switches right here. And on any mostly the switches are going to be on an MDB only model. You don't need these because these are mostly for gaming interfaces. You've got always enabled and host enabled or machine enabled, serial and pulse, 4 pulses per dollar, 1 pulse per dollar. You don't really use those switches in vending machines. So this is mostly for gaming applications, but so you would need to know what your change machine or your gaming machine or your kiosk, whatever it uses. But the switches are the same as on an MEI bill acceptor. Forward is on. You can switch them with a number 2 pencil or a tool like what I'm using. Backwards is off. Forward at the front of the bill acceptor is on. And so you can set them at whatever settings you want. You don't need to restart it or anything when you're done. But those are the 2 option settings on a Vantage. You got the switches on the side on some models, and you've got your lower board lighting options. So okay, so on a Pyramid 7000 series bill acceptor, which are the red housings, the apex. The switches, the option switches on this bill acceptor are on the bottom of it. So if it's in the machine, you're going to have to make sure you have access to the bottom of the bill acceptor. It'd be difficult in some machines, I know, or if they're upside down, it's even easier. Or you can take them out and change the settings. But there's 2 ways that you can access the settings. You can look underneath it and just flip them that way. From looking at it from the front of the bill acceptor, switch number 1 is on the left, looking at it from the front. Switch number 8 is on the right, looking at it from the front. And they're just toggle switches. You can switch them with the number 2 pencil or with a metal tool like what I've got here. And they're labeled on and off. There's a sticker here that tells you what each switch does and which way is on and off. So set them at whatever you need. The other way you can change the switches is take the bill box off the bill acceptor. I'm going to push the switch up here, pull the bill box off. And then on the bottom of the bill acceptor there's a tab right there. You're going to press that tab in while you pull backwards on the lower assembly. And you've got the whole assembly here in your hand. And then you can set the switches after that. And usually there's a sticker here too that tells you what each switch is. Then when you're done, just put the lower assembly back into place. Bill box on. Oops. And the last thing that we're going to look at on the 5000 series, which are the whitish gray ones, validators, and then the 7000 series as well. Your diagnostics push button, if you're looking at it from the back of the bill acceptor, it's on the left-hand side. If you're looking at it from the front of the bill acceptor, it's on your right-hand side. The diagnostics push button is right here, and that's what you're going to press to get a flash code on the front of the bill acceptor telling you if there's an error with the bill acceptor. And then you can read or see how many times these lights flash here, and then read the code on the back or in your manual and find out what it means. And then your memory flash port, if you're going to connect it to your computer, is right next to your push button. Okay? Okay, so this is a 2300 series MEI bill acceptor. They're not very common, but this is what they first came out with the 2000 series bill acceptor. And switches are on the side, just as any other bill acceptor on the right-hand side if you're looking at it from the front. And switches 6, 7, and 8 are not used. Only switches 1 through 5. So follow the instructions on the side. Forward is on, backwards is off when you toggle them. Okay. So right now they're all off. I pushed them all backwards. And the only difference between a 23 and a 25 is the fact that 6 and 8 aren't used. Okay, so this is a 2500 series MEI bill acceptor. Switches are on the side of the bill acceptor, on the right-hand side looking from the front, right-hand side on the back. I'm sorry, left-hand side if you're looking at it from the back, the right-hand side if you're looking at it from the front. The switches 1 through 8, 1 is on the top, 8 is on the bottom. Forward, if you pop all the switches forward, that is the switches are in the on position. Backwards is towards the back of the bill acceptor, is off. So use the diagram at the beginning of the section and set them at what you need. Okay, this is an MEI 2400 series bill acceptor. And I'm just showing you that it's this. I'm not gonna. The switches are all the same. It's the same deal. Backwards, or towards the back is off. Frontward, towards the front is on. Just the same as any of the rest of them. Basically, just showing you all of them so that you can see that they're all the same. Red sticker is 24. Blue sticker is 2500. Then the green one is the 26. This bill acceptor is a little bit different. If you look at it, there's something wrong with it. And that is that it's a down stacker bill acceptor. The switches are still in the exact same place. If the bill acceptor was in its regular position, right side up, they're on the right side of the front or on the left side if you're looking at it from the back. And the 2600 is, all the bill acceptors come in down stacker or up stacker models. I just grabbed a down stacker here so you could see what they look like. A down stacker is mounted in the machine like this, which can make the switches rather confusing. But the switch settings are the same as all the rest of them. Run right side up, number 1 is on the top, number 8 is on the bottom. But when you flip it over, number 1 is on the bottom and number 8 is on the top, and that it's displayed here as well. Okay, so you just got to remember that number 1 is down here, not on the top, when you're changing the settings on a down stacker. On the 2600, is basically the same as any of the other Mars 2000 series bill acceptors, except it will take 10 through 20s as well. So you just have to watch the settings. It also has switch number 8 is for a vending or gaming interface. So you can use a 2600 bill acceptor in a vending machine or in a gaming interface machine. The 2400 was the older gaming bill acceptor. You could only use those in gaming. You couldn't switch them over to vending. The 2600, the upgrade they made in that was the $10 and $20 bill acceptance and the gaming and vending switch option. Alright, so here's the MEI 2700 series bill acceptor. Switches in the exact same place, same deal. Forwards is on, backwards is off. I've got them all off right now. The options are just slightly different though. They took away the pulse options and all that because they don't make the 2700 and 110 volt version. The pulse options only, or the pulse options are no longer needed on the MDB only. So they took them off. Switches 4 through 8 now just allow you to set $1 through $20 bills on or off. Really the only difference, but otherwise everything's the same on a 2700.